on in, sit back and relax. You're listening to the Wealth Tech Today podcast. I'm your host, Craig Iskowitz, founder of Ezra Group Consulting. This podcast features interviews, news, and analysis on the trends and best practices all around wealth management technology. My guest today was Stan Gregor, CEO of Summit Financial Holdings. We spoke about a wide range of topics, including Summit's tech stack and their approach to integration, how they measure ROI on new applications, their adoption of AI, as well as Summit Labs, a separate company they have for technology testing and innovation, and how they evaluate new applications before integrating them into their ecosystem. It was a really interesting conversation. And speaking of applications and integrating them, what kind of ecosystem do you have? How big is your tech stack? More than 20 apps? More than 30? Even 50? However many you have, you need a strategy for managing them, integrating them, and delivering a world-class experience for both advisors and your clients. Ezra Group can help turn your tech stack chaos into a competitive advantage. Our 60-day tech stack reboot is designed specifically for RIAs looking to take the first step in gaining control over their technology infrastructure without breaking the bank to do it. If you want to free your firm up for exponential growth, you need to run, not walk to our website, EzraGroup.com, and click the golden Contact Us button on the homepage. Whether you're struggling to scale your business or wondering why advisor adoption of your core apps is so low, the experienced team at Ezra Group will help you design, optimize, and future-proof your infrastructure. We know what works and what doesn't. All right. Enough advertising. My standard housekeeping chores. Subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen, yada, yada, yada. Check out our sponsor, the Invest in Others Charitable Foundation at investinothers.org. And if you are a vendor in our space providing software to advisors, you need to register your application with Ezra Group. Go to ezragroup.com/register to take control of your application's data integration score, and our wealth tech integration score will always be up to date for you. Now, let's kick this thing off. All right, I'm excited to introduce our next guest. It is Stan Gregor, Chairman and CEO of Summit Financial Holdings. Stan, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you could be here. We're recording this quick. This is going out Thanksgiving week, and we're recording it Thanksgiving week. We're turning it around in a day. So this is going to be right out, very topical. Where are you headed for Thanksgiving?
I'll be in New York City.
Oh,
Looking forward to it. Yep.
That sounds excellent. I'm headed to Maryland. We're going in opposite directions. But we managed to meet before that for this podcast recording. I appreciate that. So let's get it kicked off. Can you please give us a 30-second elevator pitch for Summit?
For Summit, yes. So Summit is a 43-year-old wealth management company that really services advisors with their clients that are high net worth, ultra high net worth families. It's a family office service model. And there are 5 companies under Summit. There's a RIA that it does your traditional investment management work. We have a financial planning company. We have an insurance general agency. We have a technology company, and we have a global marketing company. So all 5 under that one chassis, really catering to helping advisors serve their clients and help them grow their practices.
That's excellent. Why did you? What did you see the need to create those 5 separate companies?
Well, Craig, I've been around this industry for quite a while, and every one of the larger firms I worked with, we had departments as opposed to companies, and I think there's a difference. So a lot of those departments were just less experienced, maybe younger tenured employees that lacked maybe the breadth and depth that their specialty or the division probably should have. So we made a conscious decision to work with some of the smartest people out there, some of the best partners on technology, some of the best partners on investment management. Marketing is a great example. We teamed up and acquired a stake in a global marketing company to have those resources. So bringing those resources in-house to us made a big difference in controlling that experience, controlling the quality. And the numbers, I would say, in the last 5-6 years speak for themselves. They just have been explosive.
Yeah, that was what I'm thinking. Most firms just have different departments rather than separate companies, but it makes
Right.
total sense to do it the way you're doing it. And clearly the results speak for themselves.
Thank you.
All right, so let's jump to tech. Give us a quick
Yeah.
overview of Summit's tech stack.
Yeah. So here's a great example of about 8, 9 years ago, we looked at the industry and we looked at how is the advisor how is the advisor servicing their clients? What information are they getting at their fingertips? And you know, everywhere I looked at, there seemed to be a very bifurcated approach. If you're at the traditional bulge bracket firms, which I spent, decades working at, uh, we had technology that was, in my opinion, put together in a different way. Lots of legacy technologies, probably not the most streamlined, probably not, some of the
Hmm.
most innovative, and the user experience was somewhat lacking.
Hmm.
So when we looked at where the industry was going, we didn't want to have the legacy issues. So we started with a completely clean canvas, and the approach was there is no way we were going to become the next Microsoft. There was no way we were going to become the next Salesforce. So let's create a technology company that works with some of the best technologies the industry has and build a team internally. And that's where the resources and significant capital is spent on. Let's bring a team of internal software engineers that make that technology synchronize and speak to each other. So I just give you a great example in the independent space. There are so many technologies out there that you can, have access to as an advisor. But the challenge is they're like desktop icons, right? You have to go from application to application, username, password, and the information in each one of those technologies rarely synced with the other technologies. So you're always doing
Hmm.
cut and paste, or you're doing the same exercise multiple times. So a big piece of what we did is we built an internal ecosystem where all these technologies are bridging into one ecosystem. And every quarter we're adding more and more technology companies in this mix, but probably 30 plus companies today that are speaking to each other, from the custodians to the trading tools to the performance reporting tools to the rebalancing tools to the financial planning, you name it, goes on and on and on. And it's one ecosystem that is single sign-on and truly integrates and synchronizes with the custodians and each other.
Nice. I mean, having all that together, that's really the goal of any wealth firm. Certainly firms we work with are looking to for that to be their goal, and you've already gotten there. So give us the rundown. What are these tools and technologies you've got in the tech stack?
Well, there are probably 30 plus tools. We just added an additional set of tools in this last quarter. But you think about CRM, right? Some of the
Hmm.
best, and probably one of the most important things when you're building this out. On the CRM side, we have Salesforce, we have Redtail, performance reporting. Obviously, we have Adapar. On the trading tools side, we have Tamarack, financial planning, Money Guy Pro, eMoney. You kind of go on and on and on. But again, we constantly are looking for the different players out there, who's doing what, who's doing it well. Is there a better way to do it? And it's all integrated. So the way I think about it, as an advisor, you pretty much have the whole ecosystem at your fingertips, from all the tools that I mentioned, document management. Now we're also seeing a lot of changes with AI, a lot of AI related technologies. We're even seeing it in the lead generation side, which we didn't see years ago. Retirement planning, right? Tools around financial planning on the retirement side as well. And a lot now on the documentation, obviously recording of conference calls and all of that. So um, multiple touch points to make your life easier as an advisor and to really be a lot more closer to what's happening with client assets and how you manage those assets.
That sounds like a powerful tech stack. I think we've built some of those exactly that same connection, that same list before. It's certainly a great list of players in the industry. And so, what made you pick those specifically? For example, choosing Adapar for reporting and Tamarack for trading. the were there any specific feature functionality about them that jumped out at you versus their competitors?
Every one of them has a different story. So from a performance reporting standpoint, at a par to me was the Ferrari with the rocket ship, right? So there were so many functions that you could do with at-a-par. Um, in a realistic way, it could be as simple as a six page performance report, or it could be as complex as a 300 page multifamily office reporting system. So you had that flexibility. So, broader sense, we went through each one of these technologies and what their specialties were. We have our own in-house team that does the research from cyber and from functionality and really full capabilities, how do APIs connect and all of that. And then when we like something, we put it through the Summit Lab. We actually have a team of engineers that kind of kick the tires and try it out and make sure all the things that we were told it truly does do, right? Which is
Hmm.
sometimes half the problem is out in the space. But also, what does the service level look like? What does the client experience look like? What does the advisor experience look like? There's so many components to this, and it's a big group. It's a big group of people that make up this testing and this lab, and then once we roll it out, there's a ton of maintenance and follow up that continues.
I think that's what a lot of wealth management firms don't realize, that just choosing technology, your job isn't done. A lot of firms say, "Well, we bought the CRM, now we're done." Well, no,
Yeah,
that's just the start. As
yeah,
you mentioned, implementation, support, training, integration. If you don't have any of those, you're pretty much wasting your money.
yeah. And look, there's a phrase out there that you hear from technology sales folks, which says, "Oh, this is turnkey. Oh, this is the turnkey solution."
Hmm.
And I'll give you an analogy. I'll use the car example. You order a Ferrari, and the UPS guy shows up with 500 boxes, and you're like, "Well, what is this?" Well, there's your Ferrari. Go put it together.
Hmm.
That's how a lot of these technologies operate. Where yeah, you got the core, but how do you make it work? How do you make it integrate? How do you make it synchronize? That's where the heavy lifting, begins and ends. And then how do you maintain it? How do you make sure it's continually working well and performing well? So that's the big piece on technology that it's it sounds easy, but it's not easy. It's very complex.
I tell a joke when, obviously we work with a lot of wealth management firms, and they tell us the same thing. Well, they told us it was turnkey. They told us it was easy. I said, if the vendor's software worked half as well as they said it does, we'd be out of business as consulting firms.
Yeah,
They wouldn't need us, right? The problem
yeah,
is that they don't work that way at all, as
yeah.
you've seen and found out. And but I want to talk a little bit before we jump off on Summit Labs. So
Uh-huh.
obviously that's under the tech infrastructure. What other types of work does Summit Labs do? Do you build your own integrations? Do you build any other custom software besides, do they do anything else besides testing?
We do. So we do not try to replicate the best of the best that's out there. As I mentioned, we're not going to create the next Office suite at Microsoft does so well. But to answer your question, yeah, we create a technology portal and an ecosystem that is a single sign-on structure that is over. You look at the outside wall; it's overseen by a cyber protection and an encryption piece that's critical. And then within that ecosystem, all these technologies are brought in to make sure that they're functioning, that they're connecting, that they're synchronizing, right? And they are delivering what needs to be done. So there's a lot of custom proprietary programming internally to make it work, but we're not creating proprietary technologies that the advisors are using with the end client. That's not what we do.
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense.
Integration piece.
These vendors have been doing this for a while, and that's their job,
Hmm.
and it's very difficult to replace them. And if and you're not really in the software business, you're in the financial services business. So why not
Correct.
let them do their job and you do your job?
Hmm.
You mentioned custodians, but before we go too far past that, what's the current AUM at Summit?
We probably have close to 25 billion, maybe a little higher. That's on our ecosystem, and we have. we'll probably be close to another 3-4 billion that has committed that will be joining in the next, call it, few months.
Excellent. And what are the custodian? I'm sure you have a couple custodians.
We pretty much have all the majors. So
Mm,
Fidelity, Schwab, Goldman Sachs, Pershing, SEI. Yeah, we
mm.
first clearing.
And that must also cause some difficulties in managing the ecosystem when you have money spread across all those different custodians.
Craig, my tech group and ops group can't stand me for that reason. Uh,
Would you
but
pick one
it's
and stick with
critical.
it? Come on, Stan.
Well, look, it's easier with one, but when I've run previous businesses at some of these larger firms, clients themselves wanted to diversify where they were holding assets. That's number one. So
Mhm.
from a client perspective, that's critical. The other piece is we're a partnership, and the goal of the partnership is to make it as easy and seamless for bringing on new partners, which means not having to force them to go from one custodian to the other. So is it more work for Summit's tech team? Absolutely. Is it better for the advisor and the client that all these technologies work with the custodians? Yes, and that's why we do it. So we're custodial agnostic, and all of them have full functionality and the full features of the tech stack with all of them.
Excellent. So that leads me into my next question. We've got all this technology. You're bringing on new tech all the time. Obviously, bringing on new assets all the time. You've got to balance this. And with a large firm, you've got over 150 advisors. You've got offices in 23 states. How do you balance your clearly your need and your drive for innovation in technology with those operational realities of running this large firm and making sure it's operating to the standards you want it to?
Yeah, great question. So I think latest count we're probably 175 advisors, and I think we're in 25 states now.
Hmm.
Uh, but we actually have a pretty detailed process. We have a technology innovation committee, and that committee is comprised of both advisors as well as the technology internal team. And we meet with the advisors. We share, here's what we're seeing, here's what we're testing. In addition to that, hey, advisors, what are you seeing out there? Who's coming? Who's knocking on your door, telling you they have the next cure for whatever, right?
Hmm.
It's a very collaborative team. We meet on a quarterly basis. And I would tell you some of the best ideas that we come up with as a company on technology is coming out of that group. So you have the feet on the ground, hearing what's on there, what's going on out in the marketplace, and you also have our tech guys that are attending seminars, they're attending conferences, they're reading up on white papers. So it's an ongoing structure and lots of learnings every single quarter.
That's excellent. That's something we recommend every wealth management firm have is that sort of committee. How
hmm
often do they meet, and what responsibility do they have when it comes to making decisions?
Yeah, so there's a rolling chair that changes every quarter. So a chairperson kind of heads up those meetings from an advisor standpoint. We also have the head of technology and the tech team that's in those discussions. And once an idea is curated, it's run by either the technology team or it's run by the advisors. And if it's voted on, hey, we want to go forward, this is when it goes into the lab. And this is where we do all the testing to make sure, again, what's promised is delivered and is safe, and it can truly be a value add versus something that drags you down.
That's excellent. One thing we also recommend is talking to your vendors, and having this kind
hmm
of committee makes it a single point of contact for as many vendors as you have. And most firms you work with have 30 plus vendors. They start to just
Oh
multiply.
yeah,
But if you don't talk to them, you don't spend the time getting to know your vendors and having them getting to know you, you're not going to get the most out of your technology.
agreed.
All right, so let's go on to the next part. So you've got all this technology, you've got these teams, you're constantly deploying, but when it comes to the specific return on investment, what area in all these different things you built have you seen the greatest ROI so far in terms of advisor efficiency and in terms of client experience?
Great question again. Greg, we've done this study. It's not a single technology; it's the culmination of all of them. So we're a firm that truly believes in leading with planning. So how we start relationships is a planning based approach. So having those financial planning tools at our fingertips is where it begins. And frankly, it begins and constantly comes back to it. Even though you make a plan, you execute it, you're always coming back to your financial planning model. If whatever you do, does it still make sense and is it still taking place? So financial planning is the core of what we do. How we get there, obviously, the CRM is where a lot of the data is held. So that's the data sharing within the different technologies. And then you have the administrative components of how do you design a portfolio? How do you do stress testing? How do you do trading? How do you do rebalancing? Right? Where do you get your research from? All those things. So it's not just one technology, Craig, that is the lead horse. There are multiple components here, and it's kind of like any team sport, right? One player cannot win the game. It's the culmination of the whole team working together. It's the same with technology on our side. They all play a critical role.
When you talk about portfolio design and stress testing, do you have a centralized investment management or do you let your advisors build their own portfolios?
We actually have both. So we have advisors that do act as a portfolio manager and manage money through their disciplines and their models. We also have a division that allows a co-collaboration, kind of a co-CIO function, with the advisor being a CIO and Summit CIO team working together in designing and collaborating on portfolios. And then we have another channel which is, hey, I don't want to do any of that. I want to
Hmm.
send it out to all third-party managers or SMAs. So you as an advisor, you really have three lanes to choose from. And those are the three lanes. You could do it on your own. You could do it in collaboration with the Summit CIO team, or you can outsource it to a third party and they will do it all.
Excellent. It sounds like your firm operates, I mean, you're an RIA, but you operate a lot like an independent broker deal, like an IBD. Being in partnership, you've got to really focus on how do you cater to your advisors, of course, and you're catering to your clients, but also the advisors. You need to build a technology that they're not forced into. They need to want to be there.
Mhm.
So when it comes to building your solutions, how do you balance when you obviously you have to do some building in house. You don't want to be the next Microsoft, but there's some technology. You've got your own tech firm and your own Summit Labs. How do you balance between partnering with third party vendors and maybe building some in-house solutions and leaning more towards that?
It's truly the art of a partnership, right? So we look at it both internal and external. Internally, working with the advisors on what they truly want and need, right? And it's the difference between,
Mhm.
it sounds good versus it truly is going to be an application I can apply and make work. And then working with the third parties on structuring the right partnership where there's fairness from pricing, from support, from maintenance, from training, from new ideas. So it's collaboration. If you don't collaborate and communicate, I don't know how the heck you run a business. It doesn't make any sense.
You'd be surprised. I think some
Yeah,
businesses are around in spite of themselves or in spite of the leadership. They just seem to grow or they seem to maintain themselves. We ask that question a lot. But I wanted to
yeah.
congratulate you, Stan. It's the fourth consecutive year for Summit Financial
Mhm,
on Barron's 2025 Top 100 RIA list.
mhm. Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you.
Uh, so we've been talking a lot about tech, and you mentioned a little bit, but I want to talk more about how does tech play a role in your recruiting pipeline against, God, there's so many well-funded competitors out there of other firms, PE-backed firms throwing money around at advisors. How does your tech infrastructure help recruit?
So let me start off with there is a lot of money out there. We all know that. And uh, to me, access to capital is not the issue. It goes back to how we designed this business model. The business model that we designed was, let's create a mothership that can truly be a value add to advisors and can truly help them grow their practices. And that's what we have been doing now for 40 plus years. The last 5 years, we just turbocharged it with technology, right? So, we've grown 7x in assets in 5 years. A big piece of that is obviously because of the technology. It's taken folks from a manual, reactive model to something that's automated and digital. Uh, the efficiencies have just gone through the roof. The access to information faster, easier, cleaner, has never been stronger. And all of those roles, all those parts of that upgrade, I believe have played a big role in our growth. Having a full, having a full robust tech stack to do really everything from managing, a $1 million client to a multi-billion-dollar client. Having those tools available, I think, have just been paramount.
One thing everyone knows who's listening to this podcast is Ezra Group has a huge research group, and we do a lot of work in integration research.
Yep.
We've measured the integration capabilities of every application on the Keatsis Ezra Group Advisor-Tech map. It's over 600 applications. So how important is integration capabilities to Summit? I imagine I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How important is integration when deciding which vendors and which applications to bring into your ecosystem?
It is critically important. I mean, square peg, round hole doesn't make it, right? It has to work. It has to work smart. As I mentioned before, it has to deliver what it says it delivers. And it's not just a front end, it's the ongoing support, maintenance, and training that goes on afterwards, which is probably as important as first plugging it in. So it's critical.
All right, we're okay, coming to the end of our time here. I want to sneak in a couple quick questions. And of course,
Hmm.
no podcast is complete these days without AI questions. So,
Hmm.
what AI tools are you using, and how beneficial do you see them? And are they really the revolutionary game changers we're hearing about?
Yeah, they're still new, right, to our industry. We're seeing some pretty amazing results already, whether it's on a document side, whether it's on the calendaring side, whether it's on some of the task management, lead generation. Um, we're seeing some pretty slick, cool tools being rolled out that are, again, creating efficiency, creating a big research summary in a quick fashion, and arming the advisors with new tools that may have taken maybe days in the past to go gather information around. So uh, I'm seeing it in multiple sides of our business, and we're continuing to look at it. I know we rolled out 13 new technologies this last quarter, um, and AI was in many of those technologies, and we're actually looking at a few other technologies in the lab right now on lead generation for new advisors, lead generation for advisors finding new clients in their marketplace and whatnot. And then some of the new AI when it comes to research summaries and reviewing trust documents and estate plans and all of that. So there's a lot out there on this side.
It sounds like you're hitting every area that's hot when it comes to AI for advisors. What's one app? Are you using any note takers, AI assistants that you can share?
Well, we got Copilot, we have Teams Premium, we have Jump AI, we have Wealth Feed on the on lead generation side, AI Identified, on the retirement side between Pantera, Absolute Capital. There's a lot. There's a lot out there. We're looking at wealth.com. I know we're using that. FinTrax we're using. Uh, Move Health on the benefit side.
I'm typing. That's fast. That's a lot. Certainly, you got a lot of. You're hitting all the majors. A lot of great stuff there. So,
Thank
do
you.
you see this changing the nature of advisors' work?
I do. I do. We're already seeing the efficiency piece. And some of the advisors are telling us they're picking up like 6 to 10 hours a week that in the past was administratively
Hmm.
related or research related. So yeah, I mean, if you can get an extra day a week, right, to build relationships and garner more assets and go broader, I would assume the results are going to be that much stronger. And we're starting to see that with a number of our teams. I can tell you as a firm, the advisors that are truly embracing the technology features of our ecosystem and our tech stack, are growing at a significantly higher rate than the folks that are just doing it maybe the old-fashioned way, or
Mhm.
maybe quasi-integrated. So
Mm.
there's a difference, and it's becoming more and more pronounced every year as technology gets better.
And you would think the ones that aren't using it would start using it, considering the benefits.
You would think.
But I think in a firm like yours, you can see across your firm and say, well, hey, you guys need to be doing this.
We do, and the advisors really are working together and sharing best practices and best ideas. And some of those later adopters that I would say were used to the old way of doing things, they're changing. They're changing, and now they're actually being some of the more prominent mouthpieces saying, "Wow, I used to do it this way for so many years, and I've made this shift, and I can't tell you how much of a difference it's made." So yeah, we're seeing it.
Stan, time is making fools of us again. We are out. That was fast.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Well, where can any advisors who are listening who want to find out more information about Summit Financial?
Where? Yes, you can go to our website, summitfinancial.com, located in Parsippany, New Jersey.
Beautiful Parsippany, New Jersey. We could have done this
There you go.
podcast in person.
Oh my
I'm
God,
down in
yes.
Sayreville. We'll do it next time. Next time we're gonna do it in person. We'll find some place, and then we'll do a full
Excellent.
New Jersey podcast. Stan, thanks for being here, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Have a wonderful day.
Hey, it's Craig again. Here are my top 3 takeaways from this episode. Number one, they have a comprehensive technology ecosystem. The core of Summit's offering is its integrated tech stack, which brings together over 30 best-in-class applications across CRM, portfolio management, financial planning, trading, and others. Their goal was to create a seamless single sign-on experience that allows their advisors to access all the functionality they need within one unified ecosystem, and it sounds like they have succeeded. Summit uses rigorous technology vetting and piloting. They have a dedicated Summit Labs team, and I think it's even a separate company, that thoroughly tests and vets new technology before rolling them out. This includes quarterly tech innovation committee meetings that gather input from both the internal tech teams and Summit Advisor Network. We really like this idea. We do this a lot for our clients. The committee evaluates integration capabilities, pilots solutions, and makes decisions on which tools to adopt. This structured process helps ensure that Summit provides advisors access to the most impactful wealth tech innovations. And finally, scaling across custodians. Summit has rapidly grown in the last 5 years to nearly 25 billion in AUM, supported by its ability to work seamlessly across all major custodial platforms. While managing the integrations with multiple custodians adds complexity, Summit's tech team has built the infrastructure to make sure this is a frictionless experience for advisors. This custodial flexibility allows Summit advisor partners to custody assets wherever they choose without tech constraints. And that's it. You reach the end of another episode of the Wealth Tech Today podcast. Thanks for listening. But before you go, head to our website, EzraGroup.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and sign up for our newsletter. Once a month, you will receive an email chock full of wealth management goodness, news, information, and updates. You will not be disappointed. Thanks again for listening, and talk to you all again next time.